All right, today we're going to be looking at creating space, the impression that things go back into space, that uh, what we call perspective. If things are close to us, they seem to be larger than when they're farther away. When something moves back into space, it looks like it gets smaller to us. So today we're going to take a look at how we explain, and create that illusion ourselves. The first image you want to look at is something just a basic um, understanding of why we use what we call single point perspective. Single point perspective, excuse me, has us using. Let me turn my size down here. Our horizon line, and if you'll remember from our lesson this week, our horizon line is where where the sky meets the land or the ground. And what we call the vanishing point. They call it the VP here. They've got listed as VP, the vanishing point. And that vanishing point is where things appear to disappear as we look forward off into space. As they go way, way, way far away from us again, they appear to get smaller. So the way we use these, we call these perspective lines. These lines that help us understand what the perspective that we're going to see is going to look like on something we draw. These are perspective lines. And what they help us understand is that if we look at a box like this one's above us here, that the front of it is bigger. This is taller than this little space back here. This is wider than this little space back here. Because as it goes back in space, the back of the box is further away from us than the front of the box. So it's going to appear smaller. What these perspective lines do is help us know how much smaller it's going to look by giving us those lines that show how small it gets. If the box went all the way back here, that's how small it would be. And those lines would show us it's that small. If we went all the way back here, it would be that small. And that's what those lines would help us understand. And so these lines help us understand those where we should draw our lines to show those boxes in proper perspective, show that they have depth and they're going back into space. The other thing you'll notice is that this box is above us, above our horizon line here. And that we know that because we can see the bottom of this box. If we look at this box, we can see the top of it. So we know that this box is below our horizon line. Just like that top box that uses those perspective lines to help us know how much smaller the back of the box is than the front of the box. Now, this box we can't see on the inside of it. If we could, we would see that it had a line that went like this to show the inside of that box. Just like this one has this line that would show us the inside of this box if this box were open. We can use perspective lines here to show things that are both above and below the horizon line. This one kind of goes up at an angle to show that it points down towards the horizon line, which lets us know that it's really above the horizon line. This line points upward, letting us know that it is below the horizon line. And just like before, those lines, the perspective lines, if this box were open, that line would show us, that perspective line would show us the inside of it, and this perspective line. And that's what it would look like. So let's pretend like this is in shadow. So I'm going to bring in my pencil here and this little black. And let's make this in shadow so we can better understand how this box would look if we really were here looking at it. And I'm going to make the box a different color so we can better understand. And so I'm going to go with a blue box here. All right, let's see that. I'm going to go with an orange box. All right, and so I'm just going to do the side of it here in this orange. let's get this. Make it a little. All right. So if I had an orange box, this is sort of what it would look like in perspective. All right, so that's what that side would look like. The inside of it might look something like this. Now, we'd also see the back of it, and let me show you what that would look like, because we're kind of missing that. Really should have shown you that as well. And I'll show you in that red. Let's do that red. But where the box ends here, we would see the back of the box, right, like that. Same thing here, where this line would come over, we would end up seeing the back of the box goes there, and there would be a line that would go straight up and down, parallel with the sideline that would show us where those would connect. And then we could draw the inside of this box. I'm going to make it a little darker orange. Just a little bit. Oops. Back to my marker there. And we're going to make the inside of the box a little darker than that outside that we see over here. And we're going to make sure we follow those perspective lines so we're showing the inside. And I'm going to do the very back of the box even a darker orange so you can really see that it would look like it goes way back in space. Now, you can do these little drawings that I'm doing right now to kind of help you understand how perspective goes. But we're going to do one drawing here in just a moment that uses this perspective. But I want you to understand how it works, and so I'm going to make this really dark by going to this custom. And the back of the box would end up looking like this. All right, and so let me just kind of again go over why the box has got the angles it does, because it helps us understand how that box looks like it goes back into space. So let's come back up here, turn that size down, and I'm going to go with a real bright red here just to kind of make it easier to see. So again, the front of our box is still going to be just a rectangle because it's parallel to us, and so it doesn't have the same perspective lines, the front surface of the box. And that's same for the back surface. It's also parallel to it. So it would just be a rectangle shape. But we would know how big those rectangles are based on these perspective lines. Remember, these lines show from where the front corner of the box goes all the way back into space to that vanishing point. Same thing with the bottom left and the top left of the box and the top right of the box. All of those lines point back to that vanishing point. And that's what helps us make this box look like it's in perspective. All right, we're going to look at just a couple other examples quickly, and then we're going to start on your drawing for today. I have another perspective image I'd like to show you first. Yep, here we go. And so we're going to do an inside of a room, but it also uses single point perspective. And so this is a street in Venice. Now, I've actually been to this very place. And if you'll notice, all of the lines that form the sides of the walkways, of the buildings, the windows, all point to this vanishing point. All of them, all the window lines, all the tops of the windows all point to it because those windows all get smaller back in space. That little person there would be like this tall up here. They'd be bigger here because they'd be closer to us. but they're really far off, so they're smaller. So understanding that's how these perspective lines work is they show us, um, help us understand how things get smaller as they go back into space or appear to. So I'm going to show you now. We're going to start with the image that I've got posted. If you have already got this uploaded, you're going to be a step ahead. If not, feel free to upload this and put this in. I don't think I opened the right thing, did I? Try that again. Well, what did I do with it? Oh goodness! Well, I thought I saved it. I think I can pull it up again right quickly though. We'll save it right away. Okay. Well, this is posted also on your on the homepage or on the weekly modules page, and you can use this to help create your the interior space that we're going to create, and this is the one we're going to work from. All right. So now we've got it. Try that again. Oh, did I not click the right button again? Goodness. Well, Mr. Mcguire needs his glasses. I know I just saved that here. All right. This just took a lot longer than it should have. Oh, okay. That's fine. I'll remember what it's saved as. There we go. Now we can get it going here. Oh, go and take pictures. Finally. All right. So, as always, I'm using Chrome Canvas. I like this a lot. And one of the neat things about it, what do we do here? All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a layer to work on. I'm going to create a couple. I like to do that. You know that. And I'm going to select the next layer on top of that base layer. And what I want to do is I want to start creating a basic room. And so we're going to start off with choosing our black pen or marker, whichever you prefer. I'm going to use my pencil here. And I'm just going to find those perspective lines that show us where the corners of the wall are going to be. And I'm going to draw those in here just real loosely. And our back wall is just a flat rectangle. Remember, it's right there parallel to us, and so I mean flat perpendicular in front of us, so it doesn't have perspective lines. It's just a rectangle. But let's say we are going to put in a couch, and the couch is going to be this tall. And so this is my couch, and because again it's right straight in front of us, it's just going to be the basic shape. But where all those little lines, those little corners form, there we're going to use those perspective lines to show us how that couch is going to look as it goes back into space. Now remember, if it's straight across here in the front, it's also going to be straight across in the back. If it's straight up and down the front, it's also going to be straight up and down in the back. So now I'm going to have a couch that kind of looks like this. Put some legs on it. All right. So that's kind of be my couch area. And maybe over here, I've got an old school TV. When I was a kid, we had the world's biggest TV. It was like 13, maybe 15 inches. Huge, big color TV. By today's standards, it was tiny. But it was in a huge box. The screen was only 15 inches maybe, but the box it was in was huge. So the back of it is going to be straight across like the front, but the lines that make the sides of it are going to follow those perspective lines all the way back to that vanishing point. And so we're going to put those in here. So this is what my TV looked like. And let's say there's a painting, what we have what we call a couch painting on the wall. And the front of it, the edge that's closest to us, I should say, would be straight up and down, but the top of it would follow those perspective lines, and the bottom of it would follow those perspective lines. And maybe the horse over ours is going to be horses running. So horses are so pretty when they run. It's really nice being in Kentucky where we can see cool things like horses running. When they run, they do this thing where their legs are all together in the middle. That's a neat shape they make. We'll put jockeys on it. Maybe it's a race at the Kentucky Derby. All right. Give it some track. All right. So that's my little painting in my room. What do you put in your room is going to be up to you. You might have your bedroom. If this were my bedroom, my bed might be on this wall, and I'm gonna put where the top of it would be first. But the sides of it would follow that perspective lines. Those perspective lines. Let's bring it down a little further so it doesn't look like it's right in there with our wall. So I'm gonna put my bed in here. But notice the sides of it follow those perspective lines. And I'm gonna put the bed right here. Put little feet on it. Maybe a little pillows up here. All right, maybe I made my bed today, so I'm gonna put a blanket over it. Do you make your bed every day? You should make your bed every day. It's one of the best things you can do. Take control of your life and make your bed. All right, and also makes your room look nice, right? What else could I put in this room that would show some perspective? Maybe if I had oh, I guess I'm in battery saver mode. That's good to know. Maybe if I had a rug on the floor. If I had a rug on the floor right here, well, it's also going to be straight across in the back and straight across the front, but it'll follow those perspective lines too. Now, I've got the things in here that I really want in my room that have to be in perspective for it to look right. Now, I'm ready to turn off that layer underneath. And now I'm left with a really cool room. I can use my little eraser, and if I've got perspective lines that I want to erase that might kind of impede or kind of ruin the little show that we're trying to create, the little impression, I can erase those out. And now I'm going to start adding some color. And we talked a little bit about how we were going to do an abstract painting. We looked at the work of Robert Delaney in their lesson this week, and he used perspective to show space, things going back into space, that depth that happens. And so he also used abstract colors and so forth. So we're going to use some abstract color. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to choose my pastel and I'm going to make this room wild and crazy color wise. I'm going to start off with a really cool purple. And I'm going to do this back wall, this really cool purple. Now, if your room is really purple, well, good for you. That's a cool color to have a room. My aunt used to have a purple kitchen. Absolutely cool. Looked like a big grate. Made you hungry. All right. If your room's purple, you're probably hungry all the time too. Maybe change your room color. Actually, they say that red and yellow are the colors that make us hungry. They say purples like this and blues and light greens are very calming. And we're not thinking about that so much, maybe. It's just abstract, something bold and different. And so when I say bold and different, I'm going to do these sidewalls in a purple also, but I'm going to go. Remember, we said if we add black to a color, we get a shade. And so I'm going to do these sidewalls in a shade of that purple by going to a little darker value of it. Remember, if we add that black, make it darker value, it's a shade. Whoop, got a little outside my lines there. Try to keep it in the lines, Mcguire. All right. So I'm adding my purple here, my shade of purple, my darker shade. And this is just my abstract color. You don't have to choose purple. Choose whatever color you like. It's abstract. Abstract, remember, means it's not going to be exactly the same as reality. What's really there, we're going to change it. We're going to abstract it in some way. And then I'm going to do the same sort of color over here. I'm going to turn this up just a little bit on size because I can move a little quicker that way. All right. And then I'm thinking about now, what color do I want to do that cool couch? I really like my couch shape. And I'm thinking, if this were in my actual room, what color would it be? I'm in the process of painting my house right now. And I'm going to paint my bedroom. When I bought the house, whoever had it for me painted the bedroom a really dark red. And I don't really care for dark colors. It makes rooms look smaller. So I'm about to change it to something different. I don't think it'll be dark purple though. But I do like this color in this room. All right. So now I'm thinking, what kind of craziness can I do with the ceilings? And the first thing I'm going to do is turn this way up because I got a big area of ceiling. And I'm going to go with this bright, awesome red. Kind of a red orange. Looks like a tomato. Wow, that's a really neat color. And purple and so this red orange, they share this kind of unique relationship. They're not really complementary, but one is really cool. That purple is really kind of very cool, and this tomato red is very warm. So we got that kind of warm and cool push and pull that looks kind of neat. I'm gonna do my floor in a bright sort of yellow, and if you remember, yellow and purple are opposite each other on the color wheels. And if you remember, those are called complementary colors. Complementary colors are two colors that are opposite each other on the color wheel. And yellow is directly across from purple. So now I've got some really neat abstract colors. And because I've been thoughtful in the choices I've made in my colors, they do some really neat things. That yellow really pops against that purple. That red where it's darker kind of lets us know that it's above us and it's under shadow a little bit. Where that yellow below us is kind of bright and makes us feel like we're on top of it. And so I like those color choices. And now I'm going to think about my little rug there. What can I do with the rug? And I think I want to do something really nice blue with it. All right, I'm going to do my TV, and this time I'm going to do it in this really, really neat sort of this color. You know what's funny is this color reminds me, it's like an old Ford color. Some colors I used to do cars with, you don't ever see anymore. And this is sort of one of those colors. And because I'm drawing what I think is an old time TV, I'm going to use an old time color. Now, our TV really wasn't painted blue, but that's abstract. I'm abstracting it. All right, and now I'm going to make sure. Now, I don't want to over color over my awesome perspective lines that show that TV really has depth and goes back into space. I'm going to do my couch over here. All right, I'm going to do it in a green. All right. And guys, you all are working on yours hopefully by now, and you've got yours going really well. You do not, and this applies to every make day, you don't have to stay for the whole make day once you get started. If you know what you're going to do and your perspective is looking good and you think you've got it figured out, well, you're more than welcome to cut on out of here and go work on it. But if you have some questions and you'd like to share yours, you think you might get it done during class and would like to share it at the end, I would really love it if you stuck around and showed it to us. But I completely, my feelings will not be hurt if you want to work on these quietly without having to listen to me talk through the whole thing. In a nice quiet space, maybe listen to some music that you like to listen to. Uh-oh. All right, I better wrap this up real quick before my battery goes low and cuts me off. All right, the last couple things I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to work on my horses, and I'm just going to pick some cool jockey colors here to do my jockeys in. And I'll do one of them in blue. All right, and then I'm going to do my little horses. And because I'm abstracting those too, I'm going to do them in bright yellows. All right. And again, I'm just trying to show space. So the most important thing for me is making sure that my perspective lines all look good. And this is going to be my little horse painting drawing. I am going to keep the sky blue in it because it reminds me of that blue that's across on the other side of the painting. I'm just going to put that in there really quick. All right, and I'm about done with mine. Hopefully yours is looking good and you like it. Last thing I'm going to do, put a little green down here in the grass. And that's my painting. All right, that's my abstract painting. I hope you did one that you like. And yours shows perspective. Remember those perspective lines, those lines that show us that things go back into space. I'm going to bring mine back out a little bit with my black pen just to show off those perspective lines and to let everybody know I know exactly how this should look as it goes back into space. Guys, have a great day. I hope you had fun, and I hope you got a drawing that you really liked and picked up a skill. Learning how to draw in perspective is something you can make cool letters with. You can draw cool scenery with. You can draw your home, go into the halls at school, and that kind of thing and have fun. All right, guys, have a great day. I look forward to seeing you next week for our next lesson. Thanks.